Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Lightsworn deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck just got some insane support out of Legacy of Destruction, and this is actually a 40 card build for Lightsworn. I'll also be doing a 60 card build on the channel, so definitely be on the lookout for that one. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like in your name description in a single video, getting a signed cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of the new Lightsworn Dueling. This card is really awesome as a 3F, and it's actually a baby Judgment Dragon. This card has the ability, if you have a Lightsworn monster in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is special summoned, you can send a Lightsworn card from your deck to the grave, except another copy of this card. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you actually get to add a dragon monster with 3,000 attack and 2,600 defense from your deck to your hand, which is going to be your copy of Punishment Dragon or Judgment Dragon. We then play 3 copies of Weiss Lightsworn Archfiend. This card is also definitely a 3-up and actually fixes Wolf in this deck, which is so nice because this card is able to let you place one other Lightsworn card from your hand on top of the deck, then special summon this card from your hand, then send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Basically, if you open up this card and Wolf, you can put Wolf or Felice back on top of the deck, special summon out this card, then send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard, which will be a copy of Wolf that you placed on the top of the deck, to then special summon out a copy of Wolf, which is such a cool ability to basically fix it when you do draw into a copy of Wolf. I love that about this card, and it's such a powerful support card for the consistency of the deck. And also has the ability, if this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard, you can actually target a Lightsworn monster in the graveyard, except another copy of Weiss, and special summon it to your side of the field, which is a great effect to instantly get one of your Lightsworns back on your side of the field. Speaking of Wolf, we also play 3 copies of Wolf. Wolf is amazing as a 3-of in the build, because if this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard, you special summon it, which is not a once per turn effect. You just get to instantly special summon this card from the graveyard, which is a really cool ability. We then played 2 copies of Hand of the Lightsworn. I really like this card as a 2-of in the build, because this card is a really good starter in the deck, because as a great ability, during your main phase, you can send the top 2 cards of your deck to the grave. Then if any Lightsworn monsters were sent to the grave by this effect, this card gains 200 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. It also has the ability during the end phase of this turn, you actually get to send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard, which is a mandatory effect to send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard during the end phase, but this card is also a tuner, which helps you go in for a lot of synchro plays, especially into the new Minerva. We then play a single copy of Geralth. Geralth is just a really good 1-of in the deck. I like this card as a 1-of in the build, as each time a card is sent from the deck to the graveyard by the effect of a Lightsworn monster you control, you send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard, then draw a card for each Lightsworn monster sent to the grave by its effect, which is a really cool ability just to help you send more cards to the graveyard. We then play just a single copy of Felice. Since this is the 40 card build, I feel like 1 Felice is totally fine in the deck. It's basically another copy of Wolf, because it has the ability that if this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard by a monster effect, you get to special summon it to your side of the field, but you can actually tribute this card and then target a monster opponent controls, destroy that target, then send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. But a really cool thing about Felice is this card is actually a tuner. We then play a single copy of Minerva. Minerva is a good 1-of in the deck, and this card has a really awesome ability. If it is sent to the graveyard, you can send the top card of your deck to the grave, which is a great ability, plus it's an additional name, which is really cool. We then play a single copy of Lumina. Lumina is really good as a 1-of because this card is basically Walking Monster Reborn for the deck. Then once per turn, you can discard a card and then target a level 4 lower Lightsworn monster in the graveyard and special summon that target to your side of the field. And during each of your end phases, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the grave, which is a really cool effect just to be able to get more cards in the graveyard. But it's really good to be able to use this card as a Monster Reborn. We then play a single copy of Lumina Twilightsworn Shaman. This card is also a good 1-of combo piece in the deck, as it has the ability once per turn, you can actually banish a Lightsworn monster from your hand or your graveyard and then target one of your banished Lightsworn monsters, except another copy of this card, and special summon it, which is a great ability to use this card. And also, once per turn, if your other Lightsworn monster effect is activated, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard, which is a great effect to instantly get more cards in the grave. And then play a single copy of Judgment Dragon because it is searchable off your new Baby Dragon version of Judgment Dragon, which is really cool. And this card is a great ability. If you have 4 different Lightsworn monsters in your graveyard with 4 different names, you can special summon this card from your hand to your side of the field. And also you can pay 1,000 life points to destroy all their cards on the field, which is not a once per turn effect. It is as many times as you can pay 1,000 life points you can use its ability, which is absolutely insane. And also during each of your end phases, send the top 4 cards of your deck to the grave. We then play a single copy of Punishment Dragon to round out the Lightsworn monsters. This card is really good as a 1-of to help us go in for a copy of Enlightenment Dragon. And it's really actually easy to summon out to your side of the field with the new ability of Minerva to help you banish your Lightsworn monsters, because it cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned from your hand by actually having 4 or more banished Lightsworn monsters with different names, which is really cool to have 4 of them banished to be able to summon out this card. And also, once per turn, quick effect, you can pay 1,000 life points and shuffle into the deck, or shuffle into the decks, all cards in the graveyards and face up banished cards except Lightsworn monsters. And once per turn, if your Lightsworn monster effect is activated, send the top 4 cards of your deck to the grave, which is an insane ability to use this card. And it basically shuffles all of yours and your opponent's graveyard and your banished cards back into the deck, which is just absolutely insane, especially if your opponent's already set up. This card is really devastating. So that's it for the Lightsworn monsters. Let's get into the tech monsters we're playing for this deck. So for the tech monsters, we're going to start with a single copy of Archlord Christia. Archlord Christia is definitely a 1-of in the build, as this card is very easy to bring back to your side of the field once you send it to the graveyard with one of your Lightsworn monsters effects. This card is really good to be able to summon off your copy of number 60 back to your side of the field, because it has the ability that neither player can special summon monsters while this card is on your side of the field, basically locking down your opponent. Plus, it's very easy to get this card into the graveyard because we mill so many cards to the grave. We play a single copy of Destrudo. Destrudo is amazing as a 1-of because it helps you go in for a bunch of different synchro plays, and since our Lightsworn monsters are constantly sending cards to the graveyard, this card is very easy to bring back with its own ability by just paying half your life points, which is really good and helps us step into synchro monsters, which is super cool. And then play a single copy of Magnamut. Magnamut is insane in the deck as a 1-of because it helps us search out dragon monsters, and I love that about this card. It has the ability to let you target a light or a dark monster in either player's graveyard and banish it, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand, and it's a quick effect if your opponent controls a monster. And if this card is special summoned, you can actually activate this effect during the end phase of this turn. You get to add a dragon monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which is a great ability because we can search out cards like Judgment Dragon, which is really, really cool. Then playing a single copy of Starliege. Starliege is amazing as a 1-of in the build because this card is a great effect that you can actually banish this card from the graveyard and then target a level 8 light or dark dragon monster in your graveyard and add to your hand, letting you recover cards like Punishment Dragon or Judgment Dragon out of the grave, which is really nice to be able to do. Plus, this card has the ability you can actually send any number of dragon monsters from your hand or face it from field to grave to add a dragon monster from your deck to your hand, whose level is equal to the total level of the monster sent to the graveyard for this card's effect, which is a really cool ability because it can actually send itself to get you a level 4 dragon. We then play a single copy of Black Dragon Collapse Serpent and a single copy of White Dragon Wyvern Buster. These cards are really good as 1-of each in the deck because they can actually search each other when they're sent to the graveyard, which is really cool. Plus, it just requires you to banish a dark monster or a light monster to be able to summon them out to your side of the field. Then play a single copy of Trick Clown. Trick Clown's really good as a 1-of, and actually a very old school tech for Lightsworn because if it's sent to the graveyard, you take 1,000 points of damage, special summon this card back in the grave as a 0/0, which is very easy to just get another level 4 out on your side of the field to make rank 4 plays or going for link plays. Then play a single copy of Keldo and a single copy of Medora. These cards basically do the exact same thing. They basically banish themselves from the graveyard to shuffle 3 cards from either player's graveyard back into the deck, which is great to be able to use in this build, especially if you mill something that you don't want in the graveyard. You can use these cards to put them back, which is really, really nice. Plus, they can disrupt your opponent. We then play a single copy of Tier Limit Sharon. Sharon is great as a 1-of because it's a good extender in the deck because during your main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, send a monster from your hand to the graveyard, then send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. I've said this ever since this card was actually released. This card is basically a Lightsworn card, which is why I love playing this card as a 1-of in the build because it actually makes the ceiling of Lightsworn even higher, and plus it lets you go in for a fusion play because if it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can actually fusion summon a fusion monster from your extract by placing the fusion materials mentioned on that monster from your hand, field, or graveyard, including this card in from the graveyard on the bottom bottom of the deck in any order, so you can go in for cards like Mud Dragon, which is really cool to help you from targeting protection. We then play a single copy of Plague Spreader. Plague Spreader is a good tuner to be able to play in the deck, plus it has a really good graveyard effect. If this card's in the graveyard, you can place one card from your hand on the top of the deck and then special summon this card, but banish when it leaves the field, which can also put copies of Wolf or Felice on top of the deck so you can mill them to the graveyard. And then finally play a single copy of Jet Synchron to round out the monsters. This card is just really good to help us step into cards like Crystal Wing. It's overall just a fantastic tuner to be able to play in the deck. It's a lot like Plague Spreader, which is why I like this card as a one of in the build. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial helps us get the exact monster we want in the graveyard. And then play a single copy of Chaos Space. Chaos Space helps out a lot in this deck, so let's just send a light or a dark monster from our hand to the grave to add a light or a dark monster that cannot be normal summoned or set from our deck to our hand with a level from 4 to 8, which is a really cool ability, but it has to be with a different attribute than the monster that was sent to the graveyard for this card's ability, which is just a good effect to be able to search out cards like Black or White Dragon, which is great to be able to do. And then play a single copy of Reasoning. Reasoning is really good because it's basically a free special summon, which is absolutely amazing. You can also mill cards to the graveyard and playing a bunch of different levels in the deck, so this card is really, really good. We then play 3 copies of Charge of the Light Brigade. Charge of the Light Brigade is definitely a 3-of because this card is basically Rhoda for the deck, and it lets us send the top 3 cards of our deck to the graveyard to add a level 4 lower Lightsworn monster from our deck to our hand. We then play 3 copies of Solar Recharge to round out the spells. This card is a great draw card for the deck. It lets us discard a Lightsworn monster to draw 2 cards and then send the top 2 cards from our deck to the graveyard. I think this is one of the most broken spell cards in an in-archetype spell card to help us draw I've ever seen, because it gives you so much card advantage by basically just discarding a Lightsworn you already want in the graveyard, drawing 2 cards, and then sending the top 2 cards from your deck to the graveyard, which could potentially hit cards like Wolf, which is just going to bring back those copies of Wolf to your side of the field. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing one, and that's going to be a single copy of Lightsworn Aegis. This card is insane. It's probably one of the best Lightsworn trap cards we've ever gotten. And this ability lets you target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Lightsworn monsters that you control and negate their effects until the end of the turn. But the really insane ability of this card is if this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard, you can set this card to your side of the field, but you can only use each effect of this card once per turn. And that's a really insane ability. This card is actually a negate, and it also, if it's milled to the graveyard, you can actually put it on your side of the field face down, which is such a cool effect. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start with a single copy of the new Minerva Synchro monster. This card is exactly what Lightsworn needed. It does require just a tuner plus a non-tuner, so it's extremely generic to summon out this card to your side of the field. And Lightsworn monsters you control cannot be banished by card effects, and you can only use each of the following effects of her once per turn. And if this card is synchro summoned, you can send Lightsworn monsters with different names, or different types, from your deck to the graveyard up to the number of Lightsworn monsters used for this card to summon, which is such a cool ability. You can also banish up to 4 Lightsworn monsters from your graveyard and send that many cards from the top of your deck to the grave, which is a really awesome ability just to help you mill additional cards and set up for a copy of Punishment Dragon. We then play a single copy of Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is really, really good as a 1-of in the deck. You don't have to play this card if you don't want to. You can play something like the level 10 Sword Soul monster, Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign, as another budget option for this card, but it's really good as a 1-of in the build to be able to summon out to your side of the field, because it doesn't require an actual tuner to summon out this card. But if you use light monsters to synchro summon out this card, then synchro monsters you control are unaffected by monster effects activated by your opponent. If you use dark monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, it has the ability, if it's summoned to your side of the field, it just banishes this card off the field. Then play a single copy of Crystal Wing. This card is just a really good card that we can summon out with Jet Synchron. Using our copy of Michael plus Jet Synchron makes this card, which is really good, plus it's a monster negate. Then play a single copy of Michael. Michael is really good as a 1-of in the deck, because once per turn, you can pay 1,000 life points and target a card on the field and banish that target, which is a great ability to use with this card. Then play a single copy of F.A. Dawn Dragster. This card is a spell trap negate, which is why I play this card as a 1-of in the build. You can play a single copy of Enlightenment Dragon. This is the new fusion between Punishment Dragon and Judgment Dragon. And this card is absolutely insane because you don't even have to use Polymerization to summon out this card. You just have to basically banish a copy, or excuse me, you have to banish a copy of Judgment Dragon and a copy of Punishment Dragon, one from your field and one from your graveyard to be able to summon out this card to your side of the field. And it also has a crazy powerful effect that once per turn, quick effect, you can pay 2,000 life points to banish all other cards on the field and in the graveyards. And once per turn, during the end phase, you send the top 4 cards of your deck to the graveyard. And if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you get to add your copy of your Punishment Dragon and your Judgment Dragon to your hand. Then you get to special summon them both, ignoring their summoning conditions, which is such a cool ability to be able to instantly get them back on your side of the field. This card basically defuses back into its original forms and helps you go in for game. Then play a single copy of Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon is what we summon out with our copy of our tier limit monster, and it's just a really good card to be able to summon out to our side of the field because it helps us from targeting, which is really nice. We play a single copy of the Zombie Vampire because this card is, again, basically a Lightsworn card. It has the ability, if this card is summoned out to your side of the field, you send the top 4 cards of both players' decks to the graveyard, and then you can bring a monster back to your side of the field off those cards that were sent to the graveyard, which is really nice. One copy of the Minerva XZ monster, which is so cool to be able to play basically all of her forms in this deck, which is absolutely crazy. This card has the ability you can detach a material in this card, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard, then you can draw cards equal number of Lightsworn monsters sent to the grave for this card's effect. And if this card is destroyed by battle or by an opponent's card effect, you can actually send the top 3 cards of your deck to the grave, then destroy that many cards on the field up to the number of Lightsworns that were sent to the grave by this card's effect. And play a single copy of Kagasuchi. Kagasuchi is really good because this card is also basically a Lightsworn monster. Use a copy of Felice and a copy of Wolf, or just 2 copies of Wolf to make this card, because it does require 2 Beast Warriors to make this card. And when it's XZ summon, you send the top 5 cards of your deck to the grave, which is really good. You can play a single copy of Baguska just in case we need to slow the game down, and just basically wait it out until we can summon out a copy of Judgment Dragon to go in for game, or a bunch of different monsters to go in for game. This card is really good if we go first. Play a single copy of number 60. Number 60 is insane because it can bring back a monster from the graveyard, so we can bring back something like Archlord Christia, which is really good. You can also let us draw 2 and discard a card, and it also has the ability you can double the attack of a monster you control, which is a really cool effect. Play a single copy of Appaloosa. Appaloosa is just so easy to summon this deck because this deck swarms like crazy, and it's very easy to make this card. Play a single copy of Blackluster Soldier Link monster. It's very easy to summon out a level 7 or higher monster on the field, and it's really good to be able to summon this card out to your side of the field because when it does actually destroy a monster by battle, you can activate one of these effects to either gain 15 or attack. You can actually make a second attack during the following battle phase, or it banishes a card from the field non-targeting. And then finally, play a single copy of Cross Sheep, because we do summon out cards like Mud Dragon and our copy of Enlightenment Dragon. And if we do fusions, if we summon a fusion monster to our side of the field, when this card's on the field, you get to special summon a level 4 or a monster in the grave, which is great to bring back a monster from the graveyard. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is so fun to be able to play. Definitely be on the lookout for the 60 card version of Lightsworn. I really like this 40 card version because it's a little bit more pure than the 60 card version is going to be, and I really like that, and a little bit more budget, which is really, really nice. And I love being able to play Lightsworn because it's one of my favorite decks. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, come bar notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.